Thanks. So for most of human history, the act of creation was a largely solitary and relatively elite endeavor, right? We think of scribes sitting alone in darkened monasteries, or we think of geniuses like Vincent van Gogh working alone in isolation on these masterpieces. Or we think of the creative process of these teams of professionals working together with expensive equipment to produce some highly finished work, like a gold record coming out of Nashville or a Hollywood blockbuster movie, right? The barriers to entry for creation were so incredibly high. It required literacy, it required schooling, professional training, access to materials, studio space, and that's just actually to make something. In order to distribute that to the world, you needed access to book publisher or printing press, TV or radio station. Because it was so expensive to create, the focus was always on the final product, right? We only printed the good stuff. We only printed the final thing or broadcast the final thing, leaving a veil of mystery around the process that led up to that final work. And this helped perpetuate this notion that only certain kinds of people can create things, and only certain kinds of things can be created. And then came the web. And has totally radically transformed nearly every aspect of our society, including our creative process. The bidirectional nature of the web has given us new meaning, new answers to those questions of why we create, how we create, who can create, and what could be created in the process. The web turns 25 years old this year. And Tim Berners-Lee, the inventor of the World Wide Web, and the other pioneers of the web were reflecting back on what made the web such a resounding success. And they brought up 4 things. First, the web is ubiquitous. The web is meant for everyone, regardless of race, religion, color, creed, geography, mobile carrier, right? The web is meant for everyone. And that's far and away its biggest superpower. It's royalty-free. And it's decentralized. You don't need to ask permission to publish a website. You don't need to ask permission to link to another website. That's an insanely powerful concept. And then the last point they made was that it's built on open standards and collaboration. Openness and big, messy collaboration. And it's in this collaborative world that I like to immerse myself every day working as a web designer. As the web's evolved, our tools have evolved. We have tools like WordPress, Medium, Tumblr that make it just dirt simple for anyone to publish their thoughts and ideas. Our communication channels have gotten better, from email to forums and now Twitter. Right? And our tools for collaboration have gotten a lot better as well. Think of the magic of Google Documents, right? Multiple authors working together on the same document at the exact same time. That's magic, right? Or in the programming world, tools like Git that allow multiple developers to work on the same piece of software without really having to worry about stepping on each other's toes. And what this enables is a developer sitting in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and a developer sitting in Japan to be able to collaborate together on a project. I think that that's fascinating. Taking that a step further, we have tools like GitHub, which just makes it insanely easy for anyone to open source their code, open source their work for other people to use and fix and enhance and extend. I just think that this is a tremendously powerful concept, all brought about by the open nature of the web. My friend Chris Coyer has a website called CSS Tricks, where he shares web design articles, tutorials, and resources. And on his site, he has a license, which he calls his, quote, super important legal document, which reads, I don't give 2 hoots what you do with any of the design or code you find here. Actually, I do. I hope you take it and use it uncredited on a super commercial website and get wicked rich off of it. I hope you use it at work and your boss is impressed and you get a big promotion. I hope it helps you design a website and that website impresses somebody you think is super hot and you get married and have smart, chill babies. I hope you use the code in a blog post you write elsewhere and that website gets way more popular and awesome than this one. If you feel like telling me about it, cool. If not, no big deal. If you feel better crediting it, that's cool. If not, don't sweat it. If you copy an entire article from this site and republish it on your own site like you wrote it, that's a little uncool. I won't be mad at you for stealing. I just think that you're better than that and want to see you do better. I'm not going to come after you, though. I'd rather play ball with my dog. I want the web to get better, and being all Johnny protective over everything doesn't get us there. I understand other people feel differently about this and might have semi-legit reasons for protecting certain code, design, writing, or whatever. I work on some closed source projects myself. CSS Tricks isn't one of them. Go nuts. I think that's incredible, right? That's amazing. Now, it's not that web designers are morally superior to the rest of the world, although sometimes it's fun to pretend. It's just that we understand and we rely upon this intense openness and this intense collaboration in order for us to do our work. Every day we directly benefit from the thousands of people who take the time to stay up late after they put their kids to bed to publish their thoughts or ideas, share their code and their designs with the world. And they do this without any expectation of financial gain or fame or fortune. I think that this openness and altruism is very much baked into us as human beings, but we now finally have a medium with which to express it. And I feel like the web design world understands this the most because they're the ones helping create the medium that allows for this collaboration to happen in the first place. And I get terribly excited whenever I start hearing about this open mentality start to pour out into other aspects of society and other industries, but I still feel like we have a really long way to go. I was recently talking with somebody who works at a giant hospital that does a lot of cancer research. And they were telling me that their donation form that allows people to donate money to cancer research, they bumped up the font size of their donation form and found that by doing that, they increased their donations by 20%. And I was like, wow, that's incredible. That's amazing. Like, did you share that? That's amazingly insightful. And they said, well, I'd like to, but we're not allowed to because they said that it would cause us to lose our competitive advantage. Competitive advantage? Curing cancer. Competitive advantage? Curing cancer, right? What the hell is wrong with us, right? So I think that we need more examples of things being done openly, more information being shared by default. Recently, my wonderful wife and I have been starting to work with the Greater Pittsburgh Community Food Bank to redesign their website. And they're a phenomenal organization working hard to end hunger in southwestern Pennsylvania and beyond. And it's so incredible to work with such a legitimate organization. And because they are so genuine, we thought that it would be a great opportunity to do the entire design project, updating their 8-year-old website with a brand new design. So that's exactly what we're doing. So we have sort of a timeline that sort of runs through our progress and shares all of the documents, all of the design materials, all of our everything with the broader world. Everything from the first tweet that put us in touch with each other. Whoever says tweeting about your lunch doesn't lead to anything, that's exactly what I was doing whenever the Pittsburgh Food Bank got in touch with us, which is awesome. Through to our contract, sharing that, right? Our initial design explorations, and even the website itself and how it's sort of slowly evolved and increased in fidelity. So you can sort of see how progress is being made over time. And all the while, we're sharing our thoughts and our process on our blogs, and we're open sourcing all the code that we're creating for this. So the big question, though, is why? Why do this? Why put yourself out there like this? And, anybody that makes something, you know what an uncomfortable idea it is to share some of your work before it's finished, right? It's a really uncomfortable concept. And also it just incurs a lot of extra work. But then it has tremendous advantages. One, it forces you to articulate and justify your decisions that you make. But two, you're not just sharing with your client, you're not just sharing in your own little world, you're sharing with the broader community. And that community can provide really sound advice and validate and invalidate your decisions. And taking that a step further, in the web world at least, people can fix my stuff. And that's incredible. And what I've actually found is that in a lot of cases, it's actually easier for me to try to solve everyone's problem rather than just my own. So whenever I run into something, I say, I wonder if other people have run into this as well, and float it out there. And what happens is that all these people who have had a similar problem gravitate together and work on a solution collaboratively, and then we're able to take that solution and plug it back into our own work. I think that's an incredibly powerful concept and something that's really relatively new. And lastly, sort of making this hub obviously gives us a reference to keep coming back to, but it also could help serve as a blueprint or inspiration or even a starter kit for another nonprofit, another food bank, or any other website, right? Lately, we've been hearing the term data exhaust a lot. What data exhaust is the sort of byproduct of our online activity, right? Every day we go online and we check our email and we're opening new tabs and we're clicking on things and we're completing tasks, and all the while we're leaving behind this giant wake of data. And that data has value. And that's the data that big companies like Google and Facebook, and apparently even our government, are using to target ads at us, keep tabs on us, and all sorts of other things. But this idea that the byproducts of our data has value can be applied to our creative processes, right? This creative exhaust can have value. These byproducts of the actual final work itself can in some cases end up being more powerful than the work you do. I was recently speaking at a conference in New Zealand, and after my talk was done, I had a professor from Paris come up to me, and she goes, "Hey Brad, how's the Pittsburgh Food Bank project coming?" And I'm like, what? That's crazy, to literally be on the other side of the world and have somebody understand and know what you're up to back home. I just thought that was incredible. And as we talked more, she mentioned to me that she made all the materials and writing that we've been producing for this project mandatory reading and studying for her web design students. And I'm like, that's insane, right? It's especially insane considering the project isn't even launched yet. It's not even halfway done. So I think that we have a massive opportunity here to not just share our final works, but using tools like Dribbble that allow graphic designers to share their works in progress with the world and get valuable feedback. Just tools like Instagram, which my buddy Tom uses here in Pittsburgh. He builds classic cars, and every day he has hundreds of people flipping out over the quality of his welds. It's sort of bizarre to witness from afar, but it's amazing. He's sharing his process and inspiring other people that practice his craft. We share blog posts about our techniques and our processes, share case studies about our successes and failures. Make video tutorials, right? You can knit a hat, but what if you could inspire hundreds of other people to knit many more hats? Giving things away for free, our design materials, publishing our code on GitHub. Even if you made a kick-ass meal for your family last night, right? There's the opportunity now to have, to inspire other people to use that same recipe to make their own families happy. So what I'm getting at here is that it's not about what you do. It's about what you enable other people to do. I think that this is an incredibly powerful idea. What's better? Increasing donations to your site by 20%? Or figuring out a way for every nonprofit, website in general, to increase their donations by 20%? Recently, Pew Research conducted a study as the web turns 25 and asked a very simple question: has the internet been a good thing or a bad thing? And overwhelmingly, just like 90% of people are like, yeah, the internet has been a great thing. I would personally love to meet the 6% of people that said that the internet is a bad thing. Ugh, I have access to the sum of all human intelligence in my pocket at my fingertips. This sucks. right? It's ridiculous. The web is this amazing tool that helps facilitate the very things that society needs in order to flourish: openness, communication, collaboration. And I consider myself to be extremely fortunate to be a part of the medium that helps make those things happen. I personally can't think of better problems to have than to help sort out what the web is, where it can go, who it can reach, how it gets used, and why it matters so much. So I'll leave you with 3 pieces of advice. Work hard, don't be an asshole, and share what you know. Thank you.